Hi, Tiger.
Sydney says hi. I forgot who's right here.
Tiger looks camera shy. That was a very aggressive turn.
What a baby. What a sweet little baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn. So if you're recording the whole thing this time, I can't get away with just playing the game when I'm listening.
You can.
Yeah,
I
as long
don't
as it's not
really.
stopping me from being receptive, we're good.
Yeah, I don't really care. People are allowed
My
to multitask. I just thought this would be funny. And like I said, I tried to get my dad to come out here with me. And I was like, let me read you stories about people in the snow. And he was like, no. And so I messaged you and Mac because I was like, y'all always have really good reactions. And I didn't know. I know a lot of the other people have kids. And so they were probably like playing in the snow with kids. It's so bright out here. I never realized how dirty my actual computer is and how much I need to clean it. And it's very sad. There's a lot of dust.
Sorry, I'm eating a muffin, so I muted
You're
myself so you want to hear me munching.
you don't want what if the viewers want that ASMR though, like the mukbang ASMR?
Well, it's not picking me up while I was chewing, so might not be an issue.
True. Well,
Good, because I'm.
well, this was a last minute thing I decided to do for all the YouTube podcast viewers because I thought it would be funny to sit out in the snow, and you can see behind me that it's still currently snowing. It's been snowing since very early in the AM in South Carolina. Today, I am sitting on a rocking bench that's on my front porch. I've got a pillow, I've got blankets, I am wearing 2 hoodies and one of those like legging jumpsuit things and pants and boots, very fuzzy socks and a hat and a scarf. And I don't even wear scarves. So that tells
I don't even wear bandanas, and I'll wear one today.
I have gloves sitting next to me, but it's hard to do stuff. Like they are touch gloves, but they're not great touch gloves, so it's hard. But everybody appreciate the view of the podcast if you're watching and not listening. A lot of woods. So they did come by maybe 30 minutes ago. I was looking out of the window because I was still inside the house, but they did come by and plow the road. I've been making TikToks all morning though in the snow because I thought it would be fun, but I'm not wearing a cute outfit now because I'm fully bundled up. But again, this was a last minute thing. Just decided like maybe I could find some Reddit stories about snow stories to read in the snow, and was not planned. Literally came up with this idea like 2 hours ago. Kevin was on board. So thank you, Kevin. Now you're frozen. Okay, you said no problem, so you heard me. I got the second half of the no problem. So I'm like right outside my room, and my room has the Wi-Fi router, so I figured it would be fine, but my computer might just be getting cold. But I've got a bunch of random stories about the snow and some comments to read. Nothing like am I the a-hole stories or anything, just some things that I thought you might be interested to react to, and we could talk about it if you wanted to. And then McKenna said she might come on later, so if she comes on later, she can. If not, no worries, because again, this was a super last minute thing. I'm going to text her that again though, so she doesn't feel bad.
What you want, Tiger? He wants me to love him permanently. I am scaling a mountain at the moment.
He's probably cold.
He's not. He ain't even been outside yet. Bundled up with me, and I got my heater on. Well, he probably did go outside earlier, but he ain't been outside in a couple of hours.
Fair.
Oh, this is bad. This is looking really bad.
What's bad?
Good. I was about to fall off the side of the mountain before I could stand.
You're playing your climbing game?
I am. I'm not going to try to play Arc Raiders while we're doing this.
That's so fair. What is the point of the climbing game? Is it like you're just supposed to reach the top of the mountain?
Yeah, she's the first person. She's trying to be the first person to ever reach the top. There's a little story going on too. It's not.
Is it like a real life mountain or a fictional mountain?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Does it have a name?
Mount Kami.
I don't know.
The troglodytes, the people who used to live high up on the mountains. I fell into the ground like 5 times earlier. It was rough.
That's not good. Can you die in the game?
I didn't die.
Is it just like
you can. You can. You just have to load up when your last save. There is a permadeath mode that if I really vibe with it after this, I will play it on that.
So that means
you can only save it to get out of the game. So yeah.
So like if you die, you have to start over.
Yes.
Got it.
And you don't have climbing equipment.
My dad has been watching that like free climb stuff on TikTok lately, and
Hmm.
every now and then he'll just be like, I don't understand how people do that. And I agree. I think it's
Yeah, it's
scary.
terrifying, but that's part of the thrill of it.
True, but you're playing it virtually. You're not actually doing a free climb.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know
the
if Nick
difference.
has
I don't know. Nick is our friend that does rock climbing. We went rock climbing with Nick. I went once, you went twice, right?
twice. Yes.
But no, I don't know if Nick's ever been free climbing or not. My hands are so red. Okay, let me
Yep.
find the first story. So this one is like a couple of comments from an Ask Reddit, so r/Ask Reddit. I'm gonna put this right here, but move it to the beginning of the video because I'm blind reacting to a lot of these as well. I just found snow stories and I screenshotted a bunch of them. If for some reason you're watching this and you have excessive like car trauma or don't like to hear about car wrecks, you should probably not watch this one. I will put little timestamps when we're done talking about the car stuff because I don't have complete car stuff. But some of these stories are a little scary if you have any issues with that. So I don't want anybody to watch this video and then feel uncomfortable by it. So I'm going to put that at the beginning. And it's Reddit. My dad just totaled his car when he slid off the road. What's your worst winter driving story? And then under it, it says, my dad is totally fine, by the way. We're out of the car. His JA boss insisted he come in. Even after that, when my dad called his boss to tell him he wouldn't be coming in, the second thing the boss asked was, are you okay? And when can you come in today? So winter driving stories. Let's hear them.
That's rough.
It is rough. They closed our restaurant today. So I was actually surprised because last week it was an ice storm. This week it's snow. So I figured because last night they said that we were planning on being open, but they messaged this morning and were like, nah, we're closed today, dog. Are you scheduled?
No, not this morning. I was scheduled for tonight.
You think we're going to be open tomorrow?
Hopefully. I'm scheduled all day, dude. I need money.
That's so valid.
And then it's supposed to
Hopefully
snow
it
again
doesn't.
next week, so I gotta make sure I have it. I mean, I know I just got my refund back, but damn, dude, can't be
Mhm.
spending everything right now.
My cat just like scared me half to death because I've got my headphones in right now so I can hear you better. But
Hmm.
I barely heard her like scratching the mat over there. She probably won't make an appearance. My cat's not as cuddly as Tiger is, but I was like, what is happening next to me? Because it just sounded really weird in my headphones. And plus everything sounds really weird, like or outside because again, it's like still currently snowing. I have showed it and yeah, you can see it pretty good, but every time I like look back on the recordings, my video is so much more blurry than everybody else's video, but it's probably because
Hmm.
I'm an Apple user, so that's on me.
Maybe.
But okay, sorry, super side tangent. And again, I don't have as many stories, but thank you for coming on because again, I thought this would be funny and just fun in the snow.
Hmm.
Okay, so the first comment said, glad to hear your dad's okay. And this is about like other people telling their stories. This OP says, I was coming back from skiing and was going down a steep hill. I was going slower than the others and following in the tracks of the guy in the front of me, but still managed to hit one spot with slightly more snow/slush and black ice. My Subaru Outback did a perfect 180 in less than a second, and we continued to go down the hill at the exact same speed. A couple of seconds later, we slammed into the retaining wall as the road began to curve. The entire time we were sliding backwards, and my friends and I did not say a word. And after we came to a stop, I looked out my window and saw a wall of snow, so I told my friend, I'm going to have to get out on your side. At that point, we both burst out laughing at the absurdity of the situation. Perfect 180. Perfect silence, not falling off the side of the mountain, and that all hit us at once. Several cars passed us without stopping except for another Subaru Outback. The car was completely totaled, though we had absolutely no injuries of any kind, which was fine by me. As an aside and plug for Outbacks, I continued to drive the car another month and a half before the insurance adjuster finally declared it totaled, and I had to stop driving it. Thing worked fine. Can't wait to get another one.
That's scary. Lucky. Very lucky.
Gosh, I know. Crazy. Somebody just started walking down the street and I'm like hearing the noise, and then my neighbors started talking to them and I could hear it. I'm like, hello? I'm outside in the elements, the true elements out here, guys.
Yeah.
Not really. Not really. It's just cold. I guess everybody needs a Subaru Outback for the snow, but
All
or
right.
maybe not. It did slide, but it kept them safe.
Yeah, that's what counts.
Oh, my hands are freezing. Okay. Next person says, worked at a ski area in high school. Me and a few buddies drove up there in the AM. Beautiful weather. Started snowing heavily during the day. On the way down, hit a slick spot, started sliding towards the mountain and then sliding away from the mountain. Ended up with my front passenger side tire hanging off the mountain. Another motorist had to hold the back of the car down while we all climbed out of the driver's side door. Location, Monarch Pass, Colorado. So I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know where McKenna lives in Colorado. I know she lives near I don't know, like, if Monarch Pass is near that. Anybody that's listening to this from Colorado is probably, like, screaming at me right now. But, yeah, I know that she's been talking about, like, they get snow very often, and we're just like, this is the first time we've seen snow in 10 years. Not really 10 years, but we saw a little snow last year. Like, right off the mountain.
Realistically, they should be dead. Kudos to that guy
Realistically.
who helped them,
Gosh,
and
I
them for
know.
not panicking too hard and throwing the rest of the car off the cliff.
Did I tell you about the day I slid on the way to work like a month ago?
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to say it for the podcast purposes, but on my way to my school job, not my restaurant job, a water main had broken. It was like the coldest day of the year so far. Well, I guess in 2025 because it happened. Yeah, it was 2025 when that happened. Month blur together. It was sometime. Anyway, because it's currently January 31st when we're filming this, but this video is not going to go out until like mid-February. A water main broke and like sprayed a bunch of water across the main road, and no one had gotten to it yet. And I drive a very small front wheel drive car, so my car doesn't do good in ice and snow or anything like that. And I literally slid across 2 lanes, and I just kind of sat there and coasted my car as best I could into the median, and I have no idea how I didn't panic. And I just sat in the median for about 2 minutes and just stared. And then I called my dad. I'm like, well, I almost died, but I didn't. But I'm shook right now. On the way back from school that day, like when I got off, it was still frozen over, but they had tried to like salt it a lot, but they had the second lane blocked off where it was worse. But it's very easy to do, and I'm just thankful there were no other cars around me at the time I slid, or I definitely would have slid into a car in the other lane. So it's very lucky. Kevin's shaking his head if I don't end up using the screen recording that we're going to try to use on my other phone that's sitting inside the house, not cold right now like me. Did you just mute yourself to sneeze?
I muted myself because I had like a small cutscene and it was speaking through my controller and it was going to come through very loud.
And then you sneezed.
Yeah, and then I sneezed.
Perfect timing. I thought you literally figured you were about to sneeze, and so you muted yourself to sneeze.
Oh, yeah. I would have just let it go. It was fun.
Fair. Literally, as we're doing this, I'm getting little Reddit notifications for I'm in Spartanburg subreddit, and apparently they're calling this Winter Storm Gianna. I didn't know winter storms had a name.
Me neither.
I knew hurricanes did. I mean, we've all been slightly traumatized by Hurricane Helene over here, but I didn't know winter storms had a name. So this is Winter Storm Gianna that's currently snow falling behind me right now.
Oh, hey. Hey, Gianna. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome to the neighborhood. I saw something one time, and I don't know if it's true, and I can't remember where I saw it, but I never fact-checked it, that more people take hurricanes and storms, like tropical storms, with female names. They take them less seriously, and more people end up dying than male storms. Oh my gosh, no.
Funny.
I think I'm going to have to move. The snow started coming onto the porch.
Oh, no.
I'm like, my computer. I'm just gonna put like the blanket next to it and like suffer. Oh my gosh, it's coming now. Okay, it's been snowing in like different directions.
Oh no.
All day, and it started snowing sideways again. So now you don't get a pretty snow background, you get the background of my house.
Lame.
It's okay. All right, if it stops snowing inside the porch, then I'll move back, but okay, next one. 3 months ago, similar to your dad's story, on the way home from work and hydroplaned on a wet/icy road, I countersteered and ended up sliding sideways off the road. Driver's side first, a tree took out my front tire and engine. A telephone pole sliced off my trunk. The passenger compartment was crushed and wedged between the tree and the telephone pole. Thanks to the side curtain airbag and the Honda safety standards, I was able to crawl out of the passenger side, luckily escaped with just a broken collarbone. The car was obviously totaled.
That's like some Final Destination type stuff.
I know.
That's crazy back to back.
But he's fine. A broken collarbone's kind of crazy, though, because you can't really put anything on that. My mom said she broke her collarbone when she was a kid because she was riding on the handlebars of a bike and her cousin was riding the bike, and her cousin like flipped over the handlebars and fell on top of my mom. And
Yeah, that'll do it.
she said it was rough, like some of the worst pain she's ever been in. That's like, that just doesn't seem like something you would break.
I can imagine, dude.
Yeah, I'm shaking because it's cold, and I got off my bench with my warm pillow. We're doing it for the internet.
Irvine!
I tried to explain that to my parents when I was like making TikToks outside this morning. I said, I'm doing it for the Vine. I'm like, Vine used to be a social media platform, but it's dead now. There's so much snow accumulating on the power lines that it's like starting to fall off as it's snowing more. It's pretty crazy because I didn't think it would be snowing this long, because it's 4:39 right now, and it's been snowing for 12 hours at least, because I think it started around 4. Okay.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It is. Oh, okay. This one's a long one. Same thing, though. From the same Reddit, Ask Reddit. Okay. Is my wife joining us?
Ooh.
I'm going to wait on this. I'm going to see if I can move back to my spot now, because my original spot was old. So much for clearing off the road. It's starting to accumulate on the road again. Can you see it?
Yes. Yes, I can.
It's like I can see the road, but I can't see the concrete of the road anymore.
I just found this really cool cave.
What?
I just found this really cool cave.
It looks cool. I like the art.
It's very neat.
Is that my wife? I feel like I said that and she couldn't even hear me yet. I don't know. Is that my wife?
No, it's your husband. What's up, mama?
Hey, Queen.
What's poppin'?
Dude, thank you for coming. This was just like a really stupid idea I came up with. Oh, we're having network problems. No.
My light is terrible.
You're okay. I'm sitting outside like a psychopath.
It's terrible.
But you are fine. Like, I'm literally sitting on my porch because we're reading Snowy Day stories, and like I said, this was not planned. This was literally just this would be kind of funny to sit out in the snow and read stories about snow.
How cold is it there?
How cold is it?
Yeah.
I don't actually know. I know this morning it said it was supposed to feel like 16 degrees. Right now it's 24 degrees and it feels like 11.
It's like 55 degrees here. And sunny.
You said 55 degrees there. Mm-hmm. Not it being colder in South Carolina than it is in Colorado.
I know.
It's crazy. Very crazy.
We read a story. We're reading stories about car accidents in the snow right now, because that was one of the things I found, and one of them said it took place on the Monarch Pass in Colorado.
Oh,
is that where you guys got stuck?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Wait, that's so funny though.
Okay. I need to read it again for you then. Let me find it. And then if you want to tell your story, you can. But so we've been reading it's from Ask Reddit, and it's a guy who was telling a story about how his dad slid off the road and his boss still wanted him to come in. Sorry, I just started losing network. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And so I've been reading the comments of people telling their own stories. And so the story from the Monarch Pass says, worked in a ski area in high school. Me and a few buddies drove up in the AM, beautiful weather, started snowing heavily during the day. On the way down, hit a slick spot, started sliding towards the mountain, then sliding away from the mountain, ended up with my front passenger side tire hanging off the mountain. Another motorist had to hold down the backside of my car while it all climbed out of the driver's side door. The location was the Monarch Pass in Colorado.
Yeah, that's crazy. I know some parts of that they don't have railing on the side of the road, so
that's scary.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, all the like Colorado locals, they're like, oh, don't take that pass like from November through, I don't know, March or something, because of how bad it gets. And yeah, there's no railings on a lot of it. Snow season.
That's terrifying.
But that's crazy, because we really said, because I was like, McKenna lives in Colorado. I don't know any locations of Colorado. I don't know if that's near her or not.
Well, that's, and it's like 5 hours away from us. We had went to Marx's uncle's house for Thanksgiving, and he's about like 7 hours away from us. And what's funny is that he also lives in the same town that my cousin lives in. And so while we were there, we saw my cousin. We like went out to lunch, and we were talking with them and whatever, and they were telling us about Monarch Pass. And they were just like, oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's such a scenic drive and everything. And so we were like, maybe we'll just go that way home instead of the other way. And what they didn't tell us was that it gets like really bad because it's up in the mountains. So when it snows and stuff. And on top of that, it was a really bad snowstorm that came through. And like everybody was super unprepared for it. The weather, like, it wasn't even supposed to hit until like 3 a.m., you know? And so we were not expecting the snow. And so, yeah, we had left to go home and we went that way. And yeah, that's when we got stuck, and we were stuck for like 4 hours. And then I was,
I'm very glad they're okay.
Yeah, there were like all kinds of wrecks or like people getting stuck up there because they weren't prepared for it, you know? But once, like, we had to get his grandparents to come get us in their SUV because we were in Marx's Civic. When we got back to their house, or his uncle's house, my cousin had texted us and was like, hey, just checking to make sure you guys made it home safe. And I'm like, oh, no, actually. And then I told her that we went that way, and she was like, oh, yeah, we avoid Monarch Pass like December through April or something like that. And we were like, oh, thanks. Thanks for that.
The idea of it snowing in April is so crazy to me.
Yeah. What, Marcus, what did they say the other day? It like snow, it's really bad like April and May, or March and April. Yeah, apparently it snows more in like March and April than it does in like December and January.
That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, you're going to have to let me know about that this March and April.
I will. But...
Okay. Oh, all right. So we were starting to read another story, and then you texted me. So I will add this one on now. So this one's from Connecticut. So this user said, I live in a suburb of New Haven, Connecticut, and I commute to Southern Connecticut State University, which is in the middle of a city. There's a straight highway shot I could take, but there's a chance over from I-91 to I-95 that bottlenecks traffic, meaning that drive through the crappy streets of New Haven is the easier way to take. So this last winter, and there was a freak snowstorm that no one had predicted that really picked up around 7. Unfortunately for me, I leave my house at 6:45. So I'm about halfway to school and realize it's coming down. Of course, the back roads are plowed because of all the cars are in the way, and some of the streets I take are too narrow even without the cars there for plows to reach. I'm driving a crappy 2004 Nissan Sienta, the bane of my existence, just recently got rid of the MFR, and I'm coming up on an intersection, but I see about half a block away there's a nasty accident right in the middle. I'm going very slow, maybe 15 miles per hour. I apply a little pressure to my brakes and almost instantly start drifting to the right, and directly in front of me is a tree. I turn into the skid and floor the brakes, knowing I'm about to hit the tree dead center. Until I don't. I come to a complete stop, pop it and park, instantly get out. I could only put 2 fingers between my license plate and the tree. Swear to everything, I was that close. However, this is not the end of my story, and it does in fact end in some mini tragedy. After the adrenaline gets out of my system, I start my car up and get a few roads over until I'm on Crescent Street, 1 street away from my school, so I am going down, and lo and behold, there's another accident in an intersection, and of course I just get to lightly tap my brakes and once again pull to the right. This time, however, I was way too close to the 7-inch curb, turned into it, and instead turned away from the skid in order to take the impact on my tire rather than the front bumper. I was able to angle it right and smashed my wheel onto the curb and bent the rim up. Surprisingly, did not pop the tire. I figured it was only a matter of time before it finally did go, but being so close, I just drove it on into the garage where I was able to switch it off with my bubble. Then I got the text that university was closing. Ain't life great? In all, it only cost me about $300, could have been much worse, but at that point I had poured probably about $2,000 in repairs thanks to an effed up ECM and a really crappy rebuilt transmission. It was just another headache of a bill to pay. The happiest day of my life was handing the keys to my father, who traded it in to take a bit off his new car. In the short term, I'm now driving his old Subaru, which is surprisingly awesome for what it is, essentially a station wagon with the back end cut off. In fact, it's just saved me from probably the same situation half an hour ago. I drove it through the ice today. This has started.
It could have been
What?
a lot worse, but also like.
Editor Sydney coming in here. Max Audio had a lot of feedback from the monitor here, so to catch you up on the conversation, she was saying that it could have been much worse for the driver, and she's glad that the driver made it out of the situation unharmed. I feel like this has started to turn into a car commercial for all of the cars that are good in the snow. I said it earlier, but I drive a front-wheel drive, very small car, and it's not good in the snow or ice. And I told my story about how I slid on the ice. So you missed that part, but I think I did tell you about that one. Clarifying for audio again here, McKenna said she couldn't remember if I had told her about sliding on the ice while I was driving to work or not. I don't remember. Basically, when I was driving to work the other, like it was in December, I think, a water main broke and I slid over 2 lanes and like had to coast it into the median.
You might have told me that, but I probably forgot.
That's fair. We talk too much. We know too much.
But yeah, pretty much like all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive is much better in the snow.
I started getting a lot of feedback from Max Audio here again, so to summarize what she said, she explained how that's why she ended up getting a 4-wheel drive car, because living in Colorado, they have a lot more snow, and she wanted to be better off safe than sorry with a 4-wheel drive car, and that made her feel better about driving in snowy conditions. We're from South Carolina. We don't know how to drive in the snow.
That's it. I agreed. South Carolina don't know how to drive in the snow.
I agree. Okay, so we're done with those, with the car crash stories at least. Now I have another one from Ask Reddit, which I'm going to read a few more comments from, and then I have one story to end it off with that is fictional, but I still thought it would be a fun read. So starting with r/Ask Reddit, this one is, what is the craziest thing you did on a snow day? This one was, or the next one, I remember being a kid on a snowy day and my buddy and I shoveled a bunch of driveways and made some good cash, and we went out to eat afterwards, waited and waited to pay our bill. No one ever came. We left a tip, went about our business. I've never dined and dashed since. So they accidentally dined and dashed.
And then, but left a tip still?
Yeah, they left a tip, but they didn't pay.
All right. Well, honestly, I feel like that's better than just leaving.
Right.
True. I know. I'm like, well, at least they left a tip. Not to be the first one to bring up Bistro Huddy, but I love how Nicole went on her TikTok and was like, don't boycott Bistro Huddy, but pay my friends, give them tips. At least just order water and yell at Terry and then tip your server. It's giving that.
And people actually did that too.
They did.
I honestly pop off for them.
There were so many people making it about, like, I'm cooking at home tonight because I'm boycotting Bistro Huddy.
I just think I love Drew Talbot so much, but like that's not really realistic. You know, people won't actually do that in real life.
This one's a little bit longer, but my nose is starting to run because I'm getting so cold. It says, this might get buried, but something crazy happened to me and my college buddies. My roommates and I made a 7-foot-tall snowman one day about a year ago. It hardly ever snows in Georgia, and if it does, it usually doesn't stick, so this was a treat. Upon completion, we all got in the picture together and were sending the pic to each other when for some reason we all looked up in the sky, like simultaneously. We all turned our heads towards the sky as if expecting something, and we were not disappointed. The whole sky lit up with a dull pink single slow pulse followed by a super low tone that rang out for a second and just on the edge of hearing. It sounded like it came from elsewhere and out of nowhere. And then just normal overcast skies. One of the most ominous things I've ever experienced. We all kind of looked back and forth at each other, shook like no one could explain it, but we came up with some theories. Emergency signal, because no one can drive in the snow here. Aliens, a nuke, easily disproved because we didn't evaporate. A Russian
Right.
invasion, not so easily disapproved or disproved, etc. Scared the piss out of us, and we went back inside for some tea and relative security. I'll never forget that, and I have never seen or heard anything similar to this except those cringy YouTube woke channels about conspiracy theories and other explained documents/videos that may or may not probably be doctored. So yeah, that's the craziest thing that's ever happened to me on a snow day.
We love a good conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably just like a weather phenomenon or something. I lost McKenna's audio again here, so she was just agreeing with me saying that the conspiracy theory was probably just a weather phenomenon, but it was fun to come up with conspiracies. I do love conspiracy theories, and I would love to think that it was aliens, congratulating them for building a 7-foot snowman.
You know, it's so
Good job, guys.
I don't know if y'all have ever like seen something like this. It usually, but a lot of airports have these lights that are really bright and they go across the sky like this. So that airplanes like see, you know, when it's cloudy and dark and stuff. And the first time I ever saw one of those, I genuinely thought that it was some kind of alien phenomenon or something, because it was literally just a beam of light just going across the sky like that. And it would happen, you know, like kind of randomly, but also like, you know, pretty regularly. And I had no idea what it was. And I genuinely thought like something was happening.
That's funny.
Yeah, I didn't find out until like years later that it was like an airport thing for airplanes.
Well, you know, now you live in the closest proximity to the quote unquote most conspiracy riddled airport in the United States. So
Yeah,
the Denver airport.
Denver Airport.
there's like a story about the blue horse.
Lucifer.
The blue horse statue.
I'm the one who asked you if you saw it. I'm like, did you see Lucifer? And you were like, what?
Oh yeah, you were the one that told me about that. I'm not me bringing it up like you weren't the person that said it.
Dude, you're fine. I love conspiracy theories. Kevin, have you heard of Lucifer?
No, I've not.
Lucifer is a giant horse statue that's outside of the Denver airport, and it's got red glowing eyes. Its official name isn't Lucifer, but the reason they call it that is because the guy that made it, Lucifer, fell on top of him and he died.
Dude, that's crazy.
And so it's just like, it looks like if you're flying into Denver airport and you just see it, it just does not look like something you'd want to see when you're flying into an airport, because you know, like so many people are scared of flying. Exactly. Like, I'm one of those people that's absolutely terrified of flying. I've flown across the ocean, and it does feel like you're just riding in a car, but like the takeoff and landing is the worst part for me. I don't know about you, Mac, or how you feel about it, but I just would not want to see Lucifer just staring at me with his red eyes. It's like, I'm here and ready for you.
Yeah, definitely not. I'm cooling on that.
Snow's starting to come into the porch again. My dad just stepped out here and gave me a thumbs up. He's probably like, she's been sitting outside for an hour now. I hope she's not frozen to death.
Tell him I'm a big fan of his sledding skills.
Oh, I definitely will. I'll put the video in here where my dad sled down the hill last week during the ice storm. We haven't gone sledding today. I don't know if we will. I think we both got our sledding fix last week. Okay, Queens. I have one last story, and this one is supposedly fictional, so you can choose to believe if you think it's fictional or not fictional. It's up to you. It looks like I'm losing Kevin. Can you hear me, Kev? Okay.
Can you hear me?
I just lost your screen. Yes, I can. Okay. I'm putting a trigger warning on this next story for talks of unaliving. So this one is from r/short scary stories. So what came to town with the snow? I remember the day Death rode into town. His horse was rotting around him, but still strong, huffing great puffs of steam from its nose onto the cold air. Death was dressed in black, as you would expect, but his attire changed upon reflection. One moment it was a funeral suit, mold-threaded and rat-bitten, showing every year it must have spent underground. Next, it was a preacher's jacket and a collar, clean pressed, then shroud, then old leather, then something else. His hands and demeanor made him seem like a man, but his face left no doubt that he was an older thing, a hungry presence from a primordial table, which was set so long ago, with all of the soft, miserable aging, disease, and dying things he might desire. When he rode in, the snow began, yet some sliver of sunshine managed to slip through the wall of clouds, and when that light struck the rider, it seemed like you could see through his face, through the skin, and the vein, and the bone, all the way into the squirming red center of him. On his hip he wore a heavy object that shifted moment to moment from iron knife to pocket, watch to hourglass. The snow came heavier with every step his dead horse took into town. Most of us gathered on the boardwalks to witness the slow progress down our only street. Those who weren't of mind to stand in the growing blizzard watched from behind cloudy windows or peeked out of cracked doors. The rider never stopped, never acknowledged us, watching, never changing his pace, but each of us felt it, I'm sure of us. Each of us recognized that precise instant we were finished. There was no flash or distant rumbling or visit from long buried loved ones. No memories came calling. In that moment we realized it was done. Only the dark. Only the blackness so perfect that it choked you, made you swollen, made you ... It made me want to dance. Some few others joined me, and we danced, kicking the snow from the dirt roads, hats sacrificed to the winds, grins so wide our ears bled. Others jumped from roofs or pulled revolvers and got the taste of them. Still, a number simply slipped back inside, and those were the ones I pitied. I knew their compulsion would be to earn their end, and only coin accepting their suffering. What a thing it was to watch a town burn down past the cellars while the sky came crashing to pieces by piece, every blue fragment wrapped in bright, perfect snow.
Just here.
Scary stories, r/scary stories.
God, I'm so confused though.
It kind of reminded me of
Why?
So poetic.
the Deathly Hollows. Wait, what is that? What's that story about? The Pumpkinhead guy.
Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, Sleepy Hollow. I said Deathly Hollows. Like this is not Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, Sleepy Hollow. That kind of reminded me of that for some reason.
Yeah, I just thought it was very spooky, and there weren't a lot of snow stories on Reddit, and I love spooky, scary skeletons, so I thought I would grace your presence with that creepy story.
It's kind of poetic.
Yeah, it is poetic.
Yeah,
A town. It was very poetically written, but it is scary to think about, like just seeing a grim reaper riding through on a horse, and it's almost like Bird Box. How when they saw the monsters,
Never watched
when
it.
you should watch it. It's a pretty good book. It's a pretty good movie. I haven't read the book, but when they saw the monsters, that's when they decided they wanted to leave this planet. And so it's like that in a way too, but like more poetically written. That's all I had snow stories wise, guys. Did y'all want to say anything else about any snow stories you have? I know Kev went on a walk today. McKenna lives in a more snowy state now.
But it's literally almost 50 degrees outside. It's sunny.
I know. Meanwhile, I'm here freezing to death outside in the cold.
Yeah, it is still snowing. Not as hard as it
podcast.
was earlier.
How did we switch weathers like that? I didn't know that was possible.
I don't know. But McKenna, look at the background right now.
Oh my gosh. That's so pretty though. I love
We've
that.
gotten about 5 inches of snow now, I think. We checked it earlier and it was about 3, but that was about 3 hours ago.
Yeah, and it's been snowing this whole time.
It's been
What
snowing.
the heck? It hasn't
There's
snowed
somebody.
in years.
There's somebody riding through on a
ATV.
yeah,
That's hilarious.
on a 4-wheeler. There's been a few people walk by, and then I've heard my neighbors talking to people, and my cat's like flipping out, but she's not very cuddly, so. But
Does she come inside when the weather is bad?
if it's bad enough, but she doesn't really like the inside of the house, so we have her a heated house on the front porch that she stays in. She hasn't. She's ventured out a little bit today because I've seen her paw prints, but she's just on the other side of the porch from me right now in her little house. So she's probably warmer than I am. I'm just sitting on a rocking bench that's on our porch, and I have I covered it with beach towels and a back pillow, and I have a blanket, and I've got a lot of clothes on right now. But yeah, I did it for the Vine.
Do it for the Vine. Get
Do
those
it for the
views.
Vine.
I never even had Vine.
Neither did I.
I
Vine
never had
died before.
Vine either, but I like watched all the compilations on YouTube.
Yeah, I did too. We used to do that in French class because our French teacher would, when we were done with the projects for the day, she would put on clean vines. But it's starting to snow inside the porch again. So I think I'm going to do my official outro for the podcast, and then we can say our official goodbyes off recording.
Say your goodbyes.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching this super unplanned podcast where we talked about snow stories. So if you're listening on the YouTube, or just thank you for listening, but do all of the things that all the YouTubers ask you to do. So like and subscribe, and I will see you guys every other Monday. Bye. Stop recording.
I love how the camera just switched to me even though I didn't make any noise. It's kind of weird.
So I'm ending this podcast officially with a voiceover. The last story actually made me think of the story about the dancing epidemic, but I wasn't thinking about it while I was sitting in the snow very cold, but I still wanted to share the story. So I'm going to be reading the real life story of the dancing plague of 1518 directly from history.com, and I will have it linked in the description. What was the dancing plague of 1518? In July of 1518, residents of the city of Strasbourg, and I want to say, if I pronounce any of this wrong, I am so sorry, guys, but this was a city that was a part of the Holy Roman Empire. There was a sudden and seemingly uncontrollable urge to dance. The hysteria kicked off when a woman known as Frere stepped into the street and began to silently twist, twirl, and shake. She kept up her solo dance-a-thon for nearly a week. Before long, some 36 others had joined in. By August, the dancing epidemic had claimed as many as 400 victims. With no other explanation for the phenomenon, local physicians blamed it on hot blood and suggested the afflicted simply gyrate the fever away. A stage was constructed and professional dancers were brought in. The town even hired a band to provide backing music, but it wasn't long before the marathon started to take its toll. Many dancers collapsed from sheer exhaustion, even some died from strokes and heart attacks. The strange episode didn't end until September, when the dancers were whisked away to a mountaintop shrine to pray for absolution. The dancing plague might sound like stuff of legend, but it's well documented in the 16th century historical records. It's also not the only known incident of its kind. Similar manias took place in Switzerland, Germany, and Holland, though few were as large or as deadly as the one triggered in 1518. According to the historian John Walker, the explanation most likely concerns Saint Vitus, a Catholic saint who Europeans believed had the power to curse people with a dancing plague. When combined with the horrors of disease and famine, both of which were tearing through Strasbourg in 1518, the St. Vitus superstition may have triggered a stress-induced hysteria that took hold of most of the city. Other theories have suggested that dancers were members of a religious cult, or even that they accidentally ingested ergo, a toxic mold that grows on damp rye and produces spasms and hallucinations. So now you can see why the last snow story reminds me of the dancing plague. But now for some announcements regarding the podcast. Thank you to everyone that is here. This is still a very new podcast for me, and I've been working on a lot of bugs and technical things regarding it. I did finally figure out how to record everyone, but it's still a work in progress with a few bugs I need to work out. With that being said, though, I have been very, very, very busy lately, and I've been struggling to find a time to edit the podcast to make my self-appointed due date of every other Monday. So, with the time being, which will probably be for the rest of the school year, I will be moving podcast episodes to air on the first Monday of every month. Hopefully this summer I'll be able to upload them more consistently, but for now, this is just what's best for me. I don't want to take on any extra stress of not making my due dates, and my jobs and university classes always come first, so thank you so much for all of your support regardless. But with that, thank you for listening, and do all of the things that YouTubers ask you to do. So like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the first Monday of every month. Bye!